Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. You're listening to the Saramonic Ultra. That's right, it comes in both a black pack like this and a white one as well. Now I've got the white one connected to my Lumix GH7, and this is the audio quality that you can expect straight out of camera. Now this isn't just your typical wireless pack and then you'll wait for the next one and that has a few more features. This actually takes things to the next level. Now if you know the channel, I've reviewed plenty of wireless solutions from Saramonic, Rode and many other companies, and this might be the best at a few different things. Not only does it have 32-bit float internal recording, it has a wireless signal transmission strength up to 300 meters line of sight. We're going to test out the wireless transmission reliability in just a moment, but just know it's by far the most reliable pack I've ever tested. And I've tested plenty. This is IPX5 water resistant as well, so if it gets wet, it's not going to break, which is always a good thing. It has timecode sync, so if you want to sync up your audio to your video in post, if you're using timecode workflow, that has that as well. By buying a secondary hot shoe adapter, you can connect this pack directly to a Sony camera without even needing the 3.5mm audio cable. And this can handle up to 130 dB of audio in this omnidirectional microphone. Now that it's omnidirectional means that basically I can hold it out like this, it's going to sound great. I can use it in an interview sense, it's going to sound great. And these are all things that I did over the weekend. So I've put this through its paces in a number of practical tests, and this exceeded my expectations. So I hope you find this video helpful. We're going to talk about a few of the cons and nitpicks I have at the end, but I think that this might be the best pack of the year and the best pack definitely from Saramonic. I've tested basically all of them. I don't think any of them sort of get it right as much as this, and I'll explain why throughout the video. So if you enjoy the video, leave a thumbs up. Thanks to Saramonic for sending a pair of these out for the review. Just know all thoughts are mine as per always, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't add any cons. So let's get into it. At the start of the video, I mentioned that Saramonic sent out 2 of these packs, one with and without lavalier microphones. So you can buy a set with lavalier microphones, and I'll put the price on screen, and a set without. If you at all plan on using a lavalier microphone with your wireless pack, then just get the set that actually has them, because they sound quite good, and I'll show you that right now. And now you're listening to the lavalier microphone that Saramonic provide in the pack that has them. And I think they sound pretty good. It sounds more isolated, so if you plan on hiding, the transmitter away and you just want something a little more discreet, that's why you would go for a lav mic. And they're also not going to pick up as much sound. So it's the best tool for the job in certain scenarios, whereas in other situations, you'll definitely want to be using this omnidirectional mic. Including the box, we get a charging case, 2 transmitters, and a single receiver. The case itself is fully rechargeable, so to charge the units, you can actually do it without it being plugged into the wall. I dig it. These packs can be used with phones or computers thanks to the included USB-C port, which I'm using to record my voice directly to the computer right now, or of course a lightning cable if you're on an older iPhone. We get an antenna included in the box, which allows us to get even better reception when working outdoors. Additionally, there's a 3.5mm audio cable, a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, 2 windsock Furies for helping with wind noise outside. If you decide to buy the pack with the 2 lavalier microphones, you get 2 lav mics, 2 lav mic clips, and 2 pop filters. There's some instructions, a basic user manual, and this really rock and carry bag which fits everything in perfectly. Again, this is my voice being recorded wirelessly to the USB-C port on my computer. There is a slight downgrade in the audio quality doing this, but it's still very usable. All right, let's do the all-important distance test. So what I'm going to do is start walking backwards, and every now and then I'm going to stop, turn around, and keep talking and break line of sight, and we'll see whether or not it works. And if any glitches come up, I'll leave some annotations on screen letting you know what's going on. Now I've tested this out a few times already, and it's worked flawlessly. So I'm at a distance of probably 20 meters. I'll turn around and keep talking, and hopefully it won't cut out, because most packs would cut out even at a distance of 20 meters once line of sight is broken. Now, being that we've got redundancy thanks to that recording capability, it means you're always going to have your audio, but we just want to test how well it works if you're not recording. So I've doubled the distance back at about here, so around 40 meters. I'm going to turn around and keep talking, and again, if it cuts out or does anything funny, I'll leave some annotations on screen. Now, if it does cut out, it's all about how quick it recovers and what the signal is like once it kicks back in. And with this pack so far, man, it's been flawless. So I'm gonna go back even further here, which is crazy. This is going to be getting close to 60 meters away, which is a long way in feet. So times that by 3, it's about 120 feet or so. And I'm just gonna stop, turn around and keep talking and see if it cuts out. Now, it's not unexpected that wireless packs will cut out once you break line of sight at a distance like this, but yeah, this pack has performed extremely well. As I walk back to the camera here, this will help replicate whether or not there's any sort of low frequency thuds coming through the microphone. And this is without any noise reduction or anything like that. I'll even do a little jog here just to see how it performs. I can feel the transmitter sort of bouncing up and down here, but I'm gonna watch this back and see how it actually performs and comment on it. So here we go. Listening back to the audio just through the camera speaker here, it sounded like it worked flawlessly all the way back, even on the turnaround test back here, which means this is the best wireless pack in terms of signal transmission reliability I've ever used, and I've tested plenty of packs. If you want to see my full playlist, I'll link it down below, but this puts it in a whole other league. Most packs would cut out even at a distance of about 10 or 15 meters as soon as I break line of sight. So this thing is working on a whole different level. As you can see, I've converted this wireless pack now into an interview scenario. Thanks to the omnidirectional polar pattern, it means you can hold it out like this and still get really great quality audio. And this is how I used it for most of the day when I was at the guitar show. So I'm going to show you some samples of how this performs in the real world at a guitar show. I did add some noise reduction in post just due to the ambient noise, but you can be the judge about what you think of the audio quality. I think it sounds great. Let's take a listen.
Down in Victoria here, we're at A&B Music in Geelong.
Yep.
We're at Coleman's in the city.
Oh, yeah.
We're at Sky Music. And then, of course, all of our dealers are listed on our website.
Yeah,
so,
great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time.
Mate, my pleasure.
Cheers. Awesome. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Cheers. The Saramonic Ultra gives us 3 different audio modes. So this is standard, which I've had it on the entire video. We can then switch it over to vocal boost, which will give us this type of sound. And lastly, there's a low cut option that you're listening to now, which reduces the low end. This might be handy if you're, say, trying to talk to the camera and there's a lot of noise behind you, like traffic or music or whatever. It helps roll out some of those low end frequencies. And back to the standard mode so you can get a good sense of how they all compare. Let me give you a quick rundown of the transmitter and receiver. So this is the transmitter. As you can see, we've got our USB-C socket on the side, so you can connect this to the computer and then download your files, or of course it will also charge the unit. Now charging is thanks to the case, so you don't actually have to hook this one up individually. On this side of the transmitter, we've got our noise cancellation button, which again, I recommend leaving off, and our record button over here. On the front of the unit, we have our power button, and this also lets you know which mode you're in, either in standard mode with a blue light or with noise cancellation enabled, it will be green. On the top right hand side over here, we have our red record LED. Just make sure when you buy this pack, if you want them to charge in the case, you need to remove this little sticky off all of the units, and these just peel straight off. There we go. On the top of the unit over here, we've got our built-in microphone. The microphone is on this section over here, and we have a 3.5mm lavalier microphone input. Now, if you're not using the lavalier microphone and you're going to be shooting outside, you can just click the wind furry in. The hole just becomes the slot for the furry here, and you're in business. The great news is once you have this connected, it's not going to fall out. You can kind of wobble it around and stuff. It's not coming out unless you want it to. You just simply click it out when you're done with it. We get a high tension clip on the back, so this isn't coming loose, and we get a really high powered magnet here in case you want to use this under a shirt. You can kind of see just how secure this magnet is. It's kind of hard to take off. It locks in beautifully. Let's take a look at the transmitter up close. So we get the same high quality and high tension clip over here that goes into the hot shoe of your camera. On this side over here, we have a wheel that helps you navigate the menu, and you can also adjust parameters like volume. I'll show you that in just a moment. On the top, we have our power button. On the back, we've got 3 little terminals over here which connect to the case for charging, and a USB-C port over here if you want to charge it or keep it up and running via USB-C when it's operational. Now this set of terminals in the center is for these optional accessories here that come in the case. So you do get these with it, but to essentially get this to work with a phone, say with a lightning adapter, you just click them into place like that. The second adapter included in the case is this little USB-C one, which also allows this to work as an audio interface to a computer. To turn it on, we tap the power button or hold it down for a second and it shows up on screen. Now, if the screen looks a little wavy, it's just the mismatched shutter speed. That's all it is, but it doesn't actually look like that in person. Now, to get into the menu, we swipe left like this, and then we can either use touchscreen navigation or this wheel to kind of cycle through all of the options here. It's pretty cool how we've got a full digital menu like this. And then if we want to get into let's say our output mode, we can just tap on it and bring up mono, stereo, safety, and the two headset and headphone outputs over here. So for example, if we're recording on our own or doing a live stream, the mono option is the way to go. If you just plan on using one transmitter. If you want to record two people at the same time, set it to stereo and you'll have each person's audio on separate tracks. We have a safety option over here which allows you to record two mono tracks. So the safety track option allows you to use one transmitter, and the second track on the audio will become a lower output, which is killer. So say for example, you're at an event where it gets really loud, it will record a lower safety track. That's exactly what it sounds like. So you can have that as a fallback in case of any audio issues. There's this headset and headphone output option over here as well. To go back to the prior menu that you're in, just swipe up like this and you're in business. From the volume option here, we can decide what sort of output we want from our receiver. RX is receiver, TX is transmitters. To go back again, all you need to do is tap up. Over here, we've got our microphone gain settings. When one or both of these are on, you'll see these light up here and you have full adjustment over the gain structure of each microphone, the TX and the RX, which is the receiver. Our gain modes over here, I just leave to off, but we have some camera presets here in case you want to use it with one of the many different Sony cameras that this is compatible with. Over here, we've got an auto gain setting, which I don't recommend using unless, of course, you're just recording 32-bit float internally in your microphone. Just leave this set to off in most situations. There's also a low gain option over here as well. But again, yeah, I just find for the best audio quality, set this to off. Over here, we've got our sound options, so you can cycle through original, vocal boost, and low cut. We've got our recording settings in this menu, so you can set up auto recording. You can enable that. And if you want 32-bit recording, you can just tap on screen and hit confirm and you're in business. Timecode's our next option here, and this allows us to set this up in any frame rate from 23.98 frames per second all the way up to 30p. We have some display options including brightness and backlight, so we can turn this down to 1, which is basically off, almost off, and 10, which is where it's set. So to save a little bit of battery, you might want to set it somewhere in the middle. The backlight is the backlight time, so we can either have it always on or have it set to 60 seconds, 30 seconds, or 10. I'll most likely leave this to 60 seconds. Under the system option here, we've got our time, so we can set the year and date and all that kind of stuff. The power button also doubles as a lock screen button, so you tap it once to lock the screen and then you can't accidentally knock your settings. I really love this, and to unlock it, just tap it again. By using the push button functionality on the wheel to the right, you can adjust the output level from the receiver to your camera and also adjust your microphone gain by pushing the button again on the lower menu. One of the great things about the Saramonic Ultra is you can buy a separate camera adapter. So if you're using a Sony camera, like the Sony ZV-E1 for example, or I'll list all of these different camera models, you can hook this up to the hot shoe and then you don't need to use the 3.5mm cable that I'm using on my Lumix GH7. So we're going to set this up and we're going to see whether or not it sounds any good. So here we go. So to get this to work without any cables, all you need to do is flip up this latch right here and then connect these terminals to the receiver. And then on the other side, you've got some pins which connect to the camera, and I'll show you how this looks once it's set up. And now listening to the audio of the Saramonic Ultra going into my Sony ZV-E1. This is without any sort of noise cancellation, and as you can see, the 3.5mm audio cable is still on my GH7 over here. So this gives you excellent audio quality without the need for a cable. This is one of the big advantages that Sony has, is the fact that you can get stuff that works directly with the cameras, and it was a breeze to set up. Once I connected the hot shoe, I just adjusted some parameters in terms of the output volume, and this is the kind of audio quality you can get. Let us know what you think. And the huge advantage to this little hot shoe adapter is you're not going through the microphone input socket whatsoever, so you're getting a lower noise floor, thus giving you cleaner audio. I would love to see this be functional on cameras from Panasonic as well, like the Lumix S5 Mark IIX or S5 Mark II GH7 and the rest of them. But as it stands right now, the only camera I can test it on is the ZV-E1 or the ZV-E1 over here, and I'm very impressed with the end result, although it is a bit bright. Let's compare a few different popular packs, starting with the Saramonic Ultra. So this is how it sounds going into the GH7. And now we're using the Godox MoveLink 2 M2, which is a killer wireless pack if you're looking for something a little more affordable than some of the other ones I'm going to be showcasing. But this is a really good pack. It has a little bit of a weird top end frequency, but it's nothing that you can't adjust in post. But overall this should hopefully sound good. Let's switch it back. And back, of course, to the Saramonic Ultra. And now I'm over to the Hollyland Lark M2S. And as you can see, it's right here. And this transmitter is so small, I love it. This is another one of those full range microphones that some people find a little bit too bright straight out of the box. So you'll need to just shave off a little bit of treble, but I'll leave it all stock for now so you can get a good sense of how they all compare. And back to the Saramonic Ultra, let us know if you can hear a huge difference. And now we're over to the Rode Wireless Go 2. Now to my ear, this particular microphone generally has more of a dynamic microphone sound. It's a little bit more attenuated on the highs and lows and gives you a more mid-focus sound. And if you like that kind of sound and you want to add more bass or treble in post-production, you can, but it sounds vastly different to the rest of the microphones in this lineup. And back to the Saramonic Ultra, and I'll leave the winner on screen right here about which one I like best when I put this in editing. Now we're taking a listen to the 32-bit audio quality recorded from this transmitter. This will all be transferred to the computer from the transmitter. All you have to do is plug it in, a disk drive will show up, drag and drop the files into a folder, and that's it. You can sync it in post-production. And now you're listening to the audio quality being recorded to the GH7. I expect there to be a difference in the overall quality compared to a camera's preamp versus its own internal recording. Just know if you plan on recording directly from this unit, you need to transfer the files over and sync them up in post. But it's nice and easy if you know what you're doing, and this is how it sounds in comparison. Let's do a quick vlogging test out here on this gravel road while we check out the noise reduction. So this is how it sounds without the noise reduction. The noise reduction is the lowest button, nice and easy to find. And now with noise reduction on, the light on the transmitter, which might be hard to see right now, switches from blue to green. So green is with it on, blue is with it off. If you don't need it on, I would suggest leaving it off because it sounds much better in my experience now with it off. Noise reduction is something you can add in post-production, but if you don't have that kind of workflow, then I guess it's handy having that button, but there is a big difference between it on and off. And let us know if you can hear a huge amount of the crow right now. And back with noise reduction enabled. So it's on now, and this is how it sounds in exactly the same scenario. So there you go. As you can no doubt hear, noise reduction on definitely warbles the audio, and this is something that you can't fix in post-production. So I would leave this off unless you really need it, or if you don't know how to add it in either Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve. So we're going to take a look and see what kind of guitars they got. They got a whole bunch of more affordable and also some higher end guitars just up the other end of this. They kind of are a little reminiscent of the Ibanez RGs, maybe some of the Fender guitars and a few of the others. So let's take a look. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the Saramonic Ultra, and a massive thanks again to Saramonic for sending these out. Now just know this will be a pros and cons roundup, but it will come from experience testing basically every Saramonic wireless pack over the last 5 years or so. And this is a step up over everything. If you know the channel, back in the day I said that the Blink 500 Pro was my personal favorite wireless pack. It was awesome, but this is actually better. It gives you so much more functionality. It sounds just as good. That microphone set the standard, or the internal microphone on the Blink 500 Pro set the standard for audio quality. It killed everything. It was a full range little condenser microphone that sounded unbelievable. And this sounds just as good. It sounds so much better than the Rode Wireless Go, and it gives you great audio quality. Now, whether or not you like the size of the transmitter, that's up to you. I'm just talking about straight up audio quality. I love the fact that you can attach an antenna to the receiver and use it at a distance, and the signal transmission outperforms every pack I've tested, and it's not even close. You can record internally, 32-bit float, so you can bring up the audio or bring it down if it clips or all that kind of stuff. It's a really handy feature. I think at the end of the day, if you're looking for professional audio that you can use for vlogging, for interviews, as a stereo or mono setup, safety tracks, all the stuff that we've covered already, I think this would be an absolute no-brainer. Now let's talk about a couple of the nitpicks I have with this pack. So the noise reduction circuitry, like all of the noise reduction circuitry on every wireless pack, is best left off. Add it back in post if you need it through Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve. It's there if you need it, if you don't have any sort of post-editing workflow, but it doesn't sound anywhere near as good with noise reduction on than it does with it off. So just leave it off and sort that out at the end of the day. My only other nitpick with the design of this is that the noise reduction button on the transmitter is in a place where if you go to clip the microphone on, you could accidentally turn it on, which is what I did on my last video, and it kind of like ruined the audio. So yeah, those things aside, I think this is a really great pack. Just make sure the light is blue, which means noise reduction is off, and you're going to get some of the best results you're going to capture with wireless audio. If you're a Sony shooter, being able to buy that additional hot shoe accessory to use it without cables is killer. They kind of thought of everything with this. Saramonic also give you a 2-year warranty now, which I think is a really smart move. It kind of puts your mind at ease whether or not they're going to last long term. And 2 years is a long enough amount of time that hopefully if it's going to have any issues, it will happen in that period of time. You just get another one. But while I've only had this for a few weeks, I've been absolutely impressed with this pack to the point where it's going to be my main pack moving forward, unless I'm looking for something more discreet, which is where I'll use something smaller. But yeah, I think the audio quality sounds great. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. My name's Shane. I will catch you on the next one. See ya.